Hi! In this video we're using Substance 3D Designer to create wool and fabric stitching patterns with spline nodes. Let's go over the key nodes and parameters we'll use first. The spline cubic node generates a single spline between 2 points at arbitrary locations with tangents to control the trajectory. Activating uniform distribution results in spline segments with the same distance between each other. The spline bridge to splines node generates straight or curved splines from input spline 1 to spline 2 along these splines. Bridge spline amount defines the number of generated splines. The spline 2D transform node applies a global transformation to all input splines, including inverting their direction. Compared to the regular transformation 2D node, the spline 2D transform node is specifically for spline data. Use rotation to rotate the input image. Offset moves the image in X or Y direction. The scatter on spline grayscale node is a powerful node to place patterns along the input splines. The distribution mode is the method used to place the duplicate patterns. Linear duplicates are evenly spaced along the spline. Circular duplicates are arranged along a virtual circle centered on the spline. Duplicates amount changes the number of duplicated patterns. Spread angle adjusts the arc of the virtual circle along which duplicates are distributed. One is a full circle. The spline height multiplier uses the spline height value to control the pattern luminance. Let's start with a spline cubic node and reduce all point coordinate sliders to 0 except the P2x and P2 tangent x, which are set to 1 for a straight spline on the top border. Now duplicate it and increase all point coordinates y sliders to 1 for a spline at the bottom. Add a spline bridge to splines node, adjust the bridge splines amount to 20 and connect the spline cubic nodes to the inputs. Then forward it to a spline warp node. Now we activate uniform distribution on both spline cubic nodes to have even placed spline bridges. Next, add a gradient linear 2 node with a tiling of 10. Blur it with a blur HQ grayscale node for smooth horizontal lines and use it as intensity map of the spline warp node. Set the warp intensity to 0.05 for smaller smooth curved deformation. Then connect it to a spline sample height node for later height adjustment and also to a spline 2D transform node with an offset y value of -0.05 for mirrored results. Follow it by another spline sample height node. Then we add a spline append node and connect both spline sample height nodes to its input to get our final splines. As preparation for the spline height adjustments, we'll add another gradient linear 2 node with a tiling of 20. Blur it with a blur HQ grayscale node and use an auto levels node for the full 0 to 1 range. Then connect it to the height map input of the upper spline sample height node. This results in nice transitions with higher and lower height values. We'll connect the auto levels node to a transformation 2D node, offset it with a value of -0.025 in y direction and join it to the lower height map input. Now both splines work perfectly together with high and low height values on opposite positions. Use a spline polyquadratic node with 3 points to control the bend for the stitches. Let's activate Show Thickness Envelope to have a thickness guide. Now tweak the height and thickness value for the 3 points to get the nice stitches height shape. We duplicate and connect them in a row, then forward them to the scatter on spline grayscale node. Now let's build a nice V shape by adjusting the points manually. Switch the pattern to paraboloid for a smooth shape and the size mode to use thickness from spline. Then increase spline height multiplier to 1. This way the height values from the spline polyquadratic nodes are used. To get the final row pattern, you connect the spline append node to another scatter on spline grayscale node and use the stitches as pattern input. We lower the shape spacing to 0.006 for denser shapes placement, switch the pattern to pattern input, and increase the scale to 0.025. Let's randomize it slightly by increasing the local offset random tangent to 0.002 and the random offset on spline value to 0.2 for slightly randomized position. You can experiment with the other random parameters too for a more organic look. Then increase the spline height multiplier to 0.67 to use the height from the input splines. We forward it to a blend node with the max lighten blending mode. Further, join it to a transformation 2D node and into the foreground of the blend node. Now use a width value of -100% and offset it in x direction by 0.0425 to match it exactly. Finally, you have knitted wool strings with perfect matching curves. Let's forward it to another blend node and switch to max lighten blending mode. Now duplicate the stitches part and reposition the splines in both spline polyquadratic nodes for a new vertical aligned stitches shape. Let's further duplicate the whole bridges part, increase the bridge splines amount to 41 and connect it to a spline 2D transform node to rotate it later on. Then forward it to the scatter on spline grayscale and finally into the foreground of the blend node to blend it with the other curved knitted wool. We increase the shape spacing to 0.012 for bigger shapes and tweak the shape base color to 145 for a nice height. Finally, rotate it by 90 degrees to get horizontal lines and offset it in Y direction for a perfect position. By using a custom pattern in combination with mask to path and path to spline nodes, you get the good base for quilted leather. With the circular distribution mode and increased duplicates amount, you acquire a lot of different patterns just by playing with the spread angle and rotation. It's great to experiment with for variation. Even star-shaped stitches are possible. With the spline bridge list node, you can build even more varied stitches. There are just infinite possibilities. Have fun by exploring them. If you want to learn more, you can download and open the graphs shown in the video. Thanks for watching, and we would love to hear your thoughts, ideas and suggestions for future quick tips. So let us know them in the comments. See you in the next quick tip episode.